Welcome, guys. Super excited to be having this conversation with Professor Lambo from Entropy. We're here at the Genzio Media House, and we're just going to have a good time talking about everything that they're doing in this Deepin meme space. Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of time to have a conversation about what you're building over there. I know that you guys launched around August. What was that process? And if you can tell me a little bit about maybe the TLDR, that elevator pitch that you might come to people with.
Well, the pitch itself is easy. But first of all, thank you for having me.
Of course.
But the elevator pitch is really easy. It's just miners eat first. So that's what we're about at Entropy, and more generally about our project of creating a pure Deepin.
All right. As a miner, I love hearing that. But what does it actually do? How does it actually work? Because we see day in, day out, Deepin after Deepin, rise and fall, right? They come and go. What's the plan to make this thing actually sustainable?
Well, there is no plan to, when you refer to sustainability, there is no plan to create any demand for what we do other than the demand that somehow exists for memes, I suppose.
Right.
But as a pure Deepin, we only focus on the supply side. Now, in terms of, sorry, could you repeat that question again?
Yeah, no, I was trying to figure out and understand exactly how do you keep this thing sustainable long term? Like, how do you get people interested? Because ultimately, you want to build a community around it, right?
Well, we're building a community. I think we're the fastest growing community. So you mentioned launching in August. We were founded in June, so that's 2 months to launch. Really proud about that. In a sense, this project was also about showing how quickly you can get that part or the supply side of Deepin up and running, and that what really slows Deepins down is that demand side.
Right.
So we don't have that burden. We launch, we build a community. How we build a community? Through memes, fun. We're a fun community, and I would say that, yeah, it's been exciting so far.
Now, here's a fun thing. What made you excited about making this thing happen?
Well, I'm a trained aerospace engineer. I'm also a professor. That's why I can put the Prof before the Lambo. But what made me excited was, as an engineer, you are excited about building the supply side of things. You're not really trained to think about what will my customer need.
Right.
And so in an environment such as this one of Web3, it reminds me a lot of the 90s. I was a child then, but I grew up with my father and going through the whole internet bubble. And at that time, it really didn't matter so much whether you were building something that was sustainable or not. And perhaps it wasn't even the right thing to do. What it was, I feel at least personally, at that time was the best time to be exploring new ideas. And then later, of course, a lot of them got forgotten. And if you think about it, the major companies in the Web2 space only came about after.
Sure.
Or rather, even if they existed before the dot-com bubble, they still had pivoted, and their great ideas came about really after the dot-com bubble had popped and people started really focusing on the business side.
Yeah, and a lot of people talk about that pop, like, oh, it burst, everything's over. But in reality, what we saw happening was consolidation and technology being adopted by different companies, right? So maybe a company didn't thrive, but the idea that that company came up with got adopted by somebody else, and all of a sudden they're making things work. So being excited about building, to me, is really awesome because it takes everything really to the next level. I mean, that's where we see innovation, is the people who are not worried about, okay, who's going to buy this? No, let's build it. Let's have fun with this thing and see where we can take it. Is that kind of the idea behind what you guys are doing?
That's certainly part of it, a large part of it. And this isn't my first Deepin, right? This is actually my third one. And I'm happy that it's actually a Deepin as well, even though it's on the meme side of things.
Yeah.
But to me, it's exciting to be finally, after 2 attempts, and this being the third one, to be able to address real market needs. And the real market needs seem to be coming from the miner side. And sure, there are Deepins out there. It's easy to call out Helium as somewhat of a. So to me, it's a success story. It's the leader, and it's very exciting to see them actually pivot and do less and less pivoting as they find that niche.
Yeah.
So it's exciting to see. For some of us, however, we just want to build and not look at that side.
Yeah.
So what we've been looking at is how do we make miners happy, and looking to build out technology in that direction.
I was not expecting you to come out here to tell me you're going to make me happy, but I'm liking this.
Okay, all right.
So, all right, decentralized physical infrastructure. What does this look like?
So generally, like what I think about Deepin, or
Well, about this one specifically.
this one specifically. Oh, this one's really cool. So basically, we at this time we don't even sell any hardware. So you buy a ESP32 dev board or whatever, any ESP32 or ESP32S3 will work. You apply for a miner role on our Discord, and we send you a binary and the software, and the software, of course, allows you to send us a message. Now, that message itself is just sent once an hour, and it's just random packets of data. 64 bits of data every hour sent to us. We don't do anything with it because we can't do anything with it. We can statistically measure whether this is random data, but we can't really tell, is this true randomness, pseudo-randomness? So what's the point of even using it? And that was obviously a conscious decision. We want this data to be useless because we want to sort of, in a sense, I like what I want personally to do with this. Because you may think, okay, meme coins, this is not really a person of high integrity, perhaps, I don't know. But that's not the case for me. And I would love to look people in the face, a Deepin founder, and say, well, your market cap is, I should summarize it by saying, we want to be the lower bound of Deepin.
Okay.
So if your market cap as a Deepin is lower than Entropy's, you are now by definition worth less than nothing. So you're doing something wrong.
That's a really cool way to look at it. I mean, you'd say that there's no use for it right now. Who knows? Somebody might try to ask for a little API. Hey, I want to pick up a few packets here, and I need random data generated for X, Y, and Z. Who knows what might come of this? But I get it. For now, it's worth less than nothing. But people are just excited to be a part of it. And to me, that's a huge deal because, like you said, Helium, for example, they got to almost 1 million IoT devices, and it just kept going down from there. And now they're pivoting to the cell phones, and it's working well. Don't get me wrong; I'm still making money on that end, which I'm really happy about. But it was that exploration, like how can we make this happen? How do we actually push the market to care about this? Which is why I think, like you said, it is a success story. Which brings me to a fun question: what does success look like to you?
Success really would look like, well, at this point, we're already the premier Deepin meme coin.
Oh, you're already successful. Got it. Okay.
So in a
what
sense,
about premium success?
Premium success would, I think we're at that early stage of success. But of course, we would want to sustain this. If you look at other meme coins, I think at that point, we're starting to look at what other meme coins are like. So if you look at other cycles and how other meme coins have gone through those cycles, we want to sort of sustain the same sort of growth as they have. Because if you look at our Solana friends, a Bonk, they are at this point have so many different offerings, and it's really exciting to have seen them grow. Yeah. If we could sort of sustain that sort of type of growth, we would be really happy.
And that growth really came from memes, man. Like, that's the coolest part of it. I remember being in Bonk early on. It's like, all right, what are we going to do with it? Well, let's hit FTX in the face with Bonk, you know what I mean? Like, that sort of thing really, takes off and gets people excited about the space, which I can't say that miners are always the most exciting people in the world. So bringing a little bit of life into it is actually a really, really big deal. Now, you mentioned that this is your third Deepin.
Yes.
And you're excited about being the third Deepin. Why is that?
Well, I mean, we went through iterations, right? And each time we were stifled by something. So there's many different, it's an incentive based, like creating an incentive based mechanism is difficult. You have to align all parties, and the fewer you have, the easier it is to align things. Right. In this case, we were able to simplify it because there is no customer. We don't have it. We don't take VC money. We don't have any founder allocation in our tokenomics. It's just pure miners. And the platform takes a small fee, but it only takes a fee on what miners claim. So again, there's no perverse incentive for us as a team to say, okay, don't claim so we can keep more of the tokens for ourselves. Those get burned. And that's the part that's been exciting, is just being finally unburdened of those things, those different sectors, those where the incentives can be misaligned, and focusing on building things. That's why we were able to get this platform up and running in 2 months.
Yeah.
We're always improving it and looking for, and it really, like I said, it really unburdens us and lets us run faster with that side of things. And if I were to say what use could come out of what we do, at this time, I wouldn't say, okay, it's something that we do as a Deepin per se. I would say more so maybe we are now a platform for something. Maybe we're, I don't know, some people have suggested you're now a mock Deepin. Like, other people could just, you could launch Deepins off of your sort of launch pad if you were to build one or something like that. I'm not saying that's what we're going to do. I kind of doubt it.
Sounds like he hinted at it.
Well, it seems easy at this point, I would say, but it really isn't on our critical path. So I wouldn't say that we're going to do that. But.
So what defines what the next step is going to be, or who defines that?
Like I said, miners. We're miners too, right? No founder allocation.
Right.
So I'm a miner as well. My incentives are aligned with my community's incentives, and every day that I wake up, I'm thinking about how do I make miners happy, because I'm making myself happy.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if we take it back to the other times, the other 2 Deepin projects, there were misalignments. Some of them came from VCs, some of them came from demand side, the customers themselves, and it's really hard to make it all work. And then it stifles growth, and we miss out on this great opportunity that's before us with this hyper growth in Web3.
So who's this project for? Like, I know miners. I know miners from the IoT side of things, from the low power, from the GeoNets of the world to Bitcoin miners, and I do it all. Who are you looking for to get involved in this project?
Everyone. So it really is for everyone, because if you look at sort of like the supply chain of people coming into Web3, right? Everyone starts mining, right? So you, as a Bitcoin OG, right? Like you're mining Bitcoin, then you realize, oh, this doesn't make any sense. I'm losing money. Any money that I've made in Bitcoin is by buying it outright, and then you buy the token. Okay, so now you're sort of incentivized to grow that ecosystem because you're hodling, right? And then you just get deeper and deeper into it. Like, okay, so now you're going into altcoins, but the altcoins, they don't make any sense. Okay, well, now you see this cool thing, Helium, let's say. That was my experience. That's why I quit my job, because Helium inspired me to work. I was already working on IoT, but let's work on IoT in this different, decentralized way. And then, all these things get opened up. Here I am now, sort of going deeper and deeper into it, right? Like you get into NFTs, then you get into meme coins. I'm just following the logic.
Following the laws is a good way to put it. Is it hard, or do you think anybody can kind of get involved in this one?
So we're trying to simplify it. So like I said, it's for everybody. We are trying to simplify it as much as we can, make it just plug and play. Currently, the only difficulty that I see is that some people are turned off by the flashing process. So us sending you a binary, what is it, a binary? Some people so far we've onboarded mostly Deepin miners who already are sort of hardware oriented. Yeah. But now we're onboarding, we're kind of treating this like an NFT project almost, like having giveaways of whitelists and stuff like that. So some people come in, they don't know what to do with this. They're like, they double click the binary and they're like, it's not doing anything. That's not how this works. There's a nice little web page. You go there and you can flash this device using that web-based process. It's pretty simple. For some people, it's still simple, but they have a mental block and they don't like to see consoles. So we're trying to get rid of all of that and make it as simple as possible.
So when Docker.
When Docker, yeah. I mean, that's the kind of that's where we're heading. I would say, like, something really simple, and onboard as many people as you can. Once you onboard them, they're now in the Deepin ecosystem, and Deepin right now is a very promising sector of Web3, and we are excited to we would be, you asked the question about success. Success can be defined many ways. For me personally, I would love to see if we could have well over 90% of our community being non-OG Deepin people. So people who have only got into mining Deepin because of us. That would be my personal.
You'd be doing you're literally doing this, a really nice service to everybody in the space if you do that. Just because it's hard. It's really hard to get people to join the space. I mean, the easiest thing is like open, a centralized exchange and go buy some tokens. But like getting people to actually understand how this stuff works and say, hey, I want to be a part of it. That's hard. And if you can do that, you're not only winning for your project, you're winning for everyone in the space, right?
Right. And I mean, and that's the great thing about Web3. When you give to the ecosystem gives back to you in some sort of decentralized way that nobody can really comprehend. So we're very cognizant of that.
I love it. So, all right, somebody just got into crypto. They just learned about what crypto is all about. Give me your message of like why they should be, become a miner and obviously mine with you guys.
Again, it goes back to miners eat first. So it's really just about if you go on our webpage, what we say there is no VC allocation, there is no founder allocation. It's we're fully miner focused, and we are people owned. We're owned by miners. We're taking it back to first principles in a way, but with a twist. Like Bitcoin was about proof of work,
right?
And initially Bitcoin was very democratic, but as all systems scale, they become less so. We expect we'll scale at one point and also not be so democratic. But currently, it's just a great time. You as an early miner are able to contribute very easily to the community, have great impact, and as an individual.
Right.
And this, I find, is important to most newcomers into Web3.
Phenomenal. Well, thank you so much for this conversation. I know you're not the only one I'm going to be speaking to about this because you guys are, not a silo. You're about, bringing more people in and getting this thing off the ground, up and going so more people can be a part of it. So thank you so much. I really appreciate the time, Professor.
Thank you.
Hey, what's up?
This is
But it's not something Genzio is afraid of.
If you want to survive, you got to build a
How
hive.
many know we do not understand?
Ladies and gentlemen,
Go back at the Genzio Media House.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us today.